Welcome to this episode of Leaders TV. This time we're going to be having a look at what Redefine is all about. We're also going to be taking an alternative view of some of the policies and practices that you need to remember if you're taking your group on a trip this summer. And of course there'll be another of the 100 ways to be a better leader. But first of all, I went for a bit of a walk at the park with Phil Hulks. So Phil, thanks for joining us. You're going to be sharing some of what Redefine is all about. So perhaps you could start by sharing a little bit about what Redefine is.
Redefine is a weekend for young people that happens 3 times a year. It consists of training, action and celebration. Basically on a Friday evening through to Saturday lunchtime, young people receive training. On Saturday afternoon, they go out into the community and just take part in a whole range of different community action projects. And then in the evening, they all come back together again for a celebration. I do believe that Redefine is a catalyst for so much more. And what we are really looking for Redefine to do is to create a network, like a cluster of youth workers, not just from across a town, but from across a collection of towns in an area. And out of that, then we can begin to develop a strategy for reaching youth work, for reaching young people right across the area. And a whole range of activities with holidays, training programs, community projects can kind of be set up.
That's great, Phil. So what's the long-term vision for Redefine?
I believe that something that I've been feeling for quite a long time, and I feel more strongly about it even more today, it was a young lad that led Samson to the pillars, which is where he got his strength back. And in the same way, I believe that God will cause the youth of our nation to lead the church back to the place where it will get its calling and anointing back. And so I see young people as being a catalyst for 3 things. One, I see them being a catalyst for uniting the church across an area. I also, secondly, see them as being a catalyst for mobilising church to reach the community. That actually church shouldn't just be locked up in buildings. It needs to get out to places like this. It needs to be in parks, it needs to be in streets, it needs to be reaching the community. And thirdly, it's a catalyst for seeing the power of God released in the community. You know, we're kind of standing in a park. You know, I just believe that that church needs to come outside the building, and it needs to be in the community. And so much of what we're doing through Redefine is to encourage the church to get out and to reach its community, be in its community, do church in the community.
That's good.
And that is really the heart of what we're doing. I've been running the React project for a number of years, and over the last probably 5 years in particular, we've just seen an increase each year of seeing young people have the opportunity and privilege of praying with people in family fun days and seeing God do some amazing things, answering their prayers and healing them. So even last year, we had a lady come back to a fun day site in Wickford because she had been there the year before, and literally the day before she came to that fun day, she found out she had breast cancer, and she was therefore prayed with by the team. And then a year later, she came back to tell the team that she went back to the doctors afterwards, and she was healed. And so that was amazing. But I'll tell you just this other example of because this really captures for me the call of God on young people, right? Because we had this lad Nick a few years ago who prayed with 4 lads that he led to Christ during a fun day. But having done that, one of the lads had a bad back, right? And as a result of that, he spoke to him about, well, now, you know, God can heal your back. And not only that, he says, now you guys have become Christians, you've given your life to Jesus, you don't need me to pray for you, your friends can pray for you. And these lads who had been Christians for less than 5 minutes then prayed for their friend, and his back was instantly healed.
So how do you see that vision going forward, being actually outworked on the ground, as it were?
Yeah, I know that this summer we want to pilot a new kind of mission. We're following a day of prayer where we bring people together from across the area to pray. We want to have 40 days of outreach into the community, and our vision is to reach every household. We feel that the majority of people do believe in God, but they actually believe that He is distant, he is disapproving, and he is disinterested. And we want to take the message to them that actually God is a loving Father who longs to have a relationship with us. So we're putting together a DVD that really says that. It speaks to people about the love of God. And so we want to go to every household and over those 40 days. So from Monday to Friday, we will be literally going to households with the adult church as well, with young people, pairing up, going to every household in the town, saying 4 things to people. Firstly, that over the next 40 days, the churches are praying for your community. Is there anything you would like us to pray for you about? Secondly, on Saturday, we have a team of young people that are available to help out on any needs that you have in terms of practical projects and things. Is there anything we can do for you? Thirdly, that we would like to invite them to a family fun day, which will take place in about three weeks' time. And then fourthly, we will give them a DVD that will actually explain to you a little bit about why we're doing what we're doing, explain that God is a loving Father. So that's what we want to do, and then it will end with a family fun day in each of the 6 towns in our network, in our Redefine that we're working in.
So Phil, do you see this version of outreach being replicated across the country, in other parts of the country?
I would love to see that happen, but I'm also aware that it's something that I can't make happen. But if it happens, it'd be something that God does. I think back in 2003, in fact it was on the 20th of March 2003, I've been running the Family Fun Days on React for several years, and I just felt God put in my heart that day that actually there would be a year when this would happen in 300 towns. And I thought it was going to be 2008 when I heard about Hope. And we went for it in 2008, and we ended up doing Family Fun Days in 40 towns. But actually over this last year I have had a growing sense that actually this will happen, and particularly over the next 3 years, just really beginning to trust God that actually what we're beginning to pilot now as a new way of doing fun days, a new way of reaching the community, will be something that won't just remain where we are, but actually over the 3 years the vision is that yes, we reach every household in 300 towns and then end them with a family fun day.
Wow.
That would be wonderful.
That'd be great.
My ancestors tell me that each year we have many troubles with Urban Saints Energized Plus groups not keeping to correct policies and practices when they go out on trips or go on camps and holidays. This is very bad, and so I, Bernard, want to give you bare necessities of what those of you in Energized Plus groups are needing to know. And if you are not Energized Plus group, this will give you useful checklist. First, planning your trip. What will you be doing? Where are you planning to go? How are you getting there? All these are important questions. When planning what you will be doing, you will need to check that you have proper insurance. My cousin Alexander the meerkat is always telling me about the problems he has with insurance and how it is important to know that the right insurance cover is in place. Check in Urban Saints Know-How Guide or call them at Support Centre to check. Don't call my cousin Alexander, he doesn't do that kind of insurance. If your trip or holiday is going to use activity provider, check that they have insurance cover and make sure you fill in paperwork to send to Support Centre. They can help you with this if you call them. Next, you will have to think about how you are going to get there. Are you using your own car? Is there correct insurance for this? My cousin Alexander can help with this if not. Or are you using minibus? Do you need minibus permit? You can get one of these from Urban Saints Support Centre, but remember to leave enough time for this to be posted to you. You will also need to make sure that your leaders are ready for trip. Are all of your leaders registered with Urban Saints Support Centre, including their CRBs? What if there is accident? Do you have first aider? Are you going near water? Do you need lifeguard? Check all of these things in Know-How Guide, which you find in Leaders area of Energize. And what about children and young people? Do you have all parental consent forms and contact details for each of them? This is very important in case of problems on trip. Once you arrive, you will need to do risk assessment of activities or get copies of risk assessments done by activity provider. You need to check what risks there are and make sure you have solution for them or have reduced them so they are reasonable and manageable. You may be planning to feed children or young people, maybe have a barbecue. You will be needing to look at food safety guidelines, which again you can get from Know-How Guide or Support Center. Finally and most importantly, you must have fun. There are no policies for this, so just go for it and have a great time. Simples.
So, having been joined in the studio by our two new friends, Bernard and Alexander, we're now going to go back to the park to pick up again with Phil Hulks for more information about Redefine. So Phil, talk us through a typical Redefine weekend.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, Redefine is made up of three main components. There's training on the Friday afternoon to Saturday lunchtime. There's action on the Saturday afternoon, and then it ends with a celebration in the evening. So the training element of it, what Urban Saints have done is we're producing some training materials for it. Quite a high quality resource. It includes a kind of full set of leaders' notes, a workbook for young people, and quite a high quality PowerPoint presentation for the talks as well. So it's actually quite easy for people to use. It's very interactive, and so we're quite pleased with the training resource that we're producing. We have a different theme for each of the weekends. In the first year, we've covered prayer over one weekend. We've then done the Bible over the next weekend, and now we're writing some material for church. Then, as well as the training element, obviously the next part is the community action. And what we do with that is we create a whole range of opportunities for young people. So it gives them, for those that are a little bit more fearful and not so sure about going up and offering to pray with people, there's obviously they can be involved in just a community project. It may be gardening, it may be clearing cycle paths with rubbish or whatever. But then there's also opportunities to work alongside a Healing on the Streets team, or to be involved in something we call treasure hunting, which is learning how to use gifts of the Holy Spirit and going out and with words of knowledge and offering to pray with people. So right across the whole of the community action, we're looking to demonstrate God's love, but also demonstrate His power. And then following that, obviously the celebration in the evening. One of the things we like to do at the celebration is to profile what's happened in the afternoon. So often we will show video clips of some of the action, we will interview young people, and we'll hear testimonies of what happened. So that there's an encouragement for young people that maybe didn't sign up for the whole weekend but have turned up in the evening. The next time this takes place, they may want to sign up for the whole weekend. It ends up like there are three different levels of buy-in that young people can have, depending on how committed they are to Christ. Yeah. So some young people, they may just turn up for the Saturday night youth event, which is great. But there they'd be challenged to maybe next time come for the whole weekend. Those that come for the weekends, we want to challenge them to think about what about, in addition to these 3 weekends a year, why not take part in one of the mentoring courses that we have to offer? So in that way, we try to cater for young people at whatever stage they're at in their personal walk with God.
Sounds great. There's lots going on. How do you go about organising a weekend like that with so many different activities taking place?
Yeah, I think that's where it is so helpful that actually we have an area team. You know, this isn't just a town-wide thing. So we have a representative from each of the towns involved that meet once a month as in a planning meeting, and that means that the town is hosting because we do move Redefine around. So in our own area, in the Canterbury area, where we have 6 different towns involved, each town will only host Redefine once every 2 years. Right. So for that reason, you know, they're able to really look to mobilise the whole church to be involved in that weekend, and then young people from right across the area come in to the town. And so when they host their Redefine, we encourage them to do as much of it as they feel they can and they want to, and then to let us know as an area team, the other towns, where they would need support from us. So if they want us to provide a band, a PA, or organise their celebration in the evening, or bring some trainers in or whatever, we can do that, so that each town, they own it, and we actually draw alongside them and support them.
Okay. So Phil, what's the process for establishing a Redefine hub?
So we just feel that this needs to be something that is passed on, and so I think the first step in it is to catch the vision. Right, and therefore what we want to encourage people to do is to attend a vision evening, a Redefine vision evening, that we are going to host in different places around the country that are already running Redefine, so people can go along and find out about it and catch the vision for it. So that's the first step. Once they've done that, we then want to stand with them and help them to host a vision evening in their own area. Right, where they invite church leaders, church youth workers across their area to come together, and then we will go to that and help them to actually run that evening. So first thing is they catch the vision. Second is they spread it in their area. Following that, we then invite them to bring a whole little team from their area of church youth workers, maybe even some of the young people, to come and experience a Redefine weekend themselves. And at that weekend, we will put on an extra training session for them. We'll then invite them to come back in the summer in terms of to see how we're doing the outreach into the community, so they could actually learn how that works as well. So that by probably October, November in that year, they're ready to launch their own Redefine. And so we actually then help them to launch it. And when they launch their Redefine, the vision I've got is that if I've been involved with passing the baton on to a Redefine, then I want to send our young people once a year to the new Redefine that has been established, so that we go and stand with them on the launch of their event. And then we're asking the new Redefine hubs that are set up to give away to other areas as well, so they themselves become a training base that people can come to, catch the vision, and actually then take it back to their own areas.
Phil, thank you for sharing that vision of Redefine with us. It sounds great. We really look forward to seeing that being outworked over the coming months and years. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Mark.
100 ways to be a better leader. Know how to take a custard pie.
Bring it on! Oh! Ah! Oh, thanks Matt for taking quite a few for the team there. That's about it for this time, but look out for the next episode during the summer, when we'll be bringing you something a bit different. But for now, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from him.